Radical honesty with yourself, the foundation of growth. There's a question that can change your life, but most people are too afraid to answer it honestly. The question is this: what am I pretending not to know? Right now, in your life, there's something you already know but won't admit to yourself. Maybe it's that your relationship isn't working, that you hate your job, but it's easier to complain than change, that the habit you keep trying to break is something you're choosing every day. You know, you just won't let yourself know that you know. This is the territory we're entering today: radical honesty with yourself. Not the comfortable kind where you acknowledge small flaws to feel humble. The uncomfortable kind. The kind that dismantles the stories you've told yourself for years. The kind that's terrifying and liberating in equal measure. Because here's the truth: you cannot outgrow what you won't first acknowledge. And most people spend their entire lives running from a conversation they need to have with themselves. The lies we tell ourselves. Let's start by understanding why self-deception exists in the first place. Because it's not stupidity, it's not weakness, it's a feature of being human. Your brain has one primary job: protect you. And sometimes the truth feels like a threat. So your mind builds walls, it constructs narratives, it filters reality to make it bearable. Psychologists call these defense mechanisms denial, refusing to accept an uncomfortable reality; rationalization, creating logical sounding excuses for emotional decisions; projection, seeing your own flaws in others instead of yourself; minimization, acknowledging a problem while downplaying its severity. These mechanisms aren't evil, they serve a purpose. When you experience trauma, they help you function. The problem is when they become permanent residents instead of temporary guests, when the defense becomes a prison. Here's a hard truth: the stories you tell yourself about yourself are often the most dishonest stories you tell. Because you're both the author and the subject, you control the narrative, you edit out the unflattering parts. You cast yourself as the hero or the victim, whichever feels better in the moment. And nobody calls you out because nobody else can see inside your head. The cost of self-deception. Self-deception might feel protective, but it comes with a devastating cost. Let me show you what you're actually paying. First, you pay with stagnation. You cannot fix what you won't face. If your failures are always someone else's fault, you'll never develop the skills to prevent them. If you tell yourself you're just not good with money or just not a morning person, you've locked yourself into a box of your own making. Second, you pay with relationships. The lies you tell yourself leak into how you treat others. If you won't admit you're insecure, that insecurity shows up as jealousy, control, or withdrawal. People around you experience the truth you're hiding from yourself. They just don't always tell you. Third, you pay with a strange kind of exhaustion. Maintaining self-deception is work. It takes energy to avoid certain thoughts, to keep the story straight, to defend against contradicting evidence. Part of you is always on guard. That vigilance is draining, even if you don't recognize it. But the deepest cost is this: you lose yourself. When you lie to yourself long enough, you forget what's actually true. You become a stranger to your own experience. You've buried yourself under so many layers of narrative that you can't find the original anymore. What radical self-honesty looks like. So what does radical honesty with yourself actually look like? Let me be specific. Radical self-honesty is not self-criticism. It's not beating yourself up or dwelling on your flaws. That's just another form of avoidance, using self-attack to avoid self-examination. True self-honesty is neutral. It's seeing clearly without judgment. It's not confession for its own sake, not wallowing in guilt. The goal isn't to feel bad. The goal is to see accurately so you can act effectively. Here's what it actually looks like. Admitting when your motivations aren't noble. that you gave that advice to feel smart, not to help, that you did that favor to be liked, not out of generosity. Acknowledging your role in your problems, not all of it, maybe not even most, but your piece, the part you contributed. Confronting the gap between who you present yourself as and who you actually are. The values you claim to hold but don't live by, the priorities you announce but don't honor. Admitting what you really want, even when it's embarrassing or contradicts the image you've built. Maybe you want recognition more than you admit. Maybe you want security more than adventure. These desires aren't shameful, but they become toxic when hidden. How to practice radical self-honesty. Knowing you should be honest with yourself, and knowing how to be your different things. Practice 1. The Question Audit. Regularly ask yourself questions designed to surface what you're avoiding. What am I pretending not to know? What would I do if I weren't afraid? What is this really about? Don't rush past these questions. Sit with them. The first answer is often a deflection. The real answer comes when you stay with the discomfort. Practice 2. Follow the emotion. Strong emotions are signals. When you feel defensive, ask what you're protecting. When you feel disproportionate anger, ask what nerve got touched. Your emotions often know the truth before your conscious mind is willing to accept it. Learn to read them as information. Practice 3. Notice your stories. You have a story about why your career is where it is, why your relationships are the way they are. Start noticing these stories. Then ask, is this actually true? Or is this just the version that makes me feel best? A useful test: does your story consistently make you the hero or the victim? If so, it's probably incomplete. Practice 4. Seek honest feedback. Find people who will tell you the truth, not just what you want to hear. Then, when they do, resist the urge to defend, explain, or dismiss. Just receive it. The things that sting most are often most worth examining. Practice 5. Journal without editing. Write for yourself, with no intention of anyone else ever reading it. Write ugly, write embarrassing, write the thoughts you'd never say out loud. The page is the one place you can be completely honest without consequences. Use it. The freedom on the other side. Radical self-honesty sounds painful, and it is at first, but what comes after is worth it. The first gift is clarity. When you stop lying to yourself, you finally see your life as it actually is. And from that place, you can make real decisions. Not decisions based on who you wish you were, decisions based on who you actually are. The second gift is freedom from exhaustion. When you stop maintaining the fiction, you reclaim all that energy. You can just be. That's a kind of rest most people never experience. The third gift is self-trust. When you know that you'll tell yourself the truth, you can rely on yourself. You become someone you can count on to yourself. And the fourth gift is genuine growth. Now you can work with reality, address real problems, develop in the areas that actually need development. You can stop shadowboxing with projections and start engaging with what's true. So here's my challenge to you. Tonight or this week, find 15 minutes of quiet. And ask yourself the question I opened with. What am I pretending not to know? Don't answer with your first thought. That's probably a decoy. Stay with it. Let the real answer surface. It might be about a relationship, your work, a habit, your past, what you really want from your life. Whatever it is, you already know. You've probably known for a long time. The only question is whether you're ready to stop pretending. Because that's where growth begins. Not with learning something new, but with finally admitting what you've known all along. The truth will set you free. But first, you have to be willing to see it. To thine own self be true, Shakespeare. Come back to this video to reflect on these truths. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next. and write me a comment about any newly acknowledged truth you may have discovered.